blanket is too hot. There's no longevity in this. Oh boy. Hello, you can call me Laura, and last weekend I attended Shiretown Shindig. And it was everything I hoped it would be. And more. So let's talk about it.
We're gonna talk about things and maybe make some things too.
Mistakes. Yeah, this is way too hot. Nope. Nope. Getting rid of that. Alright. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say Shiretown Shindig, go ahead and check out my previous videos where I talk about the LARP event itself, how I designed my character, as well as the clothes that they wore and kind of a reveal about the character themselves. Just so you know, I'm not being paid or endorsed in any way to say any of these things. I just want to give an honest reaction to the event that I got to attend, especially for first-time LARPers. You'll notice also during the course of some of these stories I will purposefully leave out names, and I want to do that to protect the attendees' privacy. Shiretown Shindig took place at Yield Commons. Yield Commons is this really cool LARP venue that has a tavern, player cabins, this huge open field for additional tent camping as well as activities. It also has like a surrounding forest with trails going through it to other sections of the site, and I mean it even has a stream. This place is really cool. So after my very long drive to Massachusetts, and I'm so proud of my little van car, he did so good. When I arrived to Yield Commons, the first thing I did, I unpacked all my stuff and I took a nap. At this LARP, there are multiple different sleeping arrangements. With your general ticket, you could stay in the tavern in a sleeping area that had multiple different cots in a bunk style, or for a little extra money, you could pay for a cabin or a private tent for you and your friends, or you could bring your own tent, and there are both decorum areas as well as non-decorum areas. When I say decorum versus non-decorum, decorum means that it looks in-universe. So your tent actually looks like it is part of that world. It is pretty much the difference of a history reenactor's canvas tent versus your everyday camping tent. Since I went to this LARP alone, I decided to go with the general tavern sleeping arrangement. I thought it would fight against my general hermit tendencies to hold myself up, and yeah. So it was interesting though, because I actually got to even sleep in a room that was a little more secluded off of the main tavern area as well. So it worked out great. So after the nap, it was dinner time, and I swear this set the mood for the entire event. After I got my food, I got to the main kind of eating area and like holding my lunch tray like a freshman in high school. I looked around, I'm like, none of these seats look open. Okay, I'll just go sit by myself. And so I went and sat by the stage area that was right next to the city area alone, like a weirdo or whatever. And 30 seconds, like not even 30 seconds passed, and this wonderful angel of a human literally came up to me and was like, "Are you alone?" And I was just like, yeah. And immediately asked if I wanted to sit with them. And that kindness is just so amazing. First time LARPers, if someone asks you if you're alone and if you want to sit with them, well, vibe check them, please. Like, definitely go with your instincts, but don't say no. Like, that is a one-way ticket to a friendship, which was so wonderful. I ended up hanging out with this person a lot, off and on throughout the event, just from that initial moment of kindness. And so it truly was a really great indicator for the rest of the weekend. The premise of this LARP is that it's pretty much a family reunion, and or I mean, you're a huge community that have known each other in some way for ages. And so it was so easy as players just to kind of sit down next to somebody, like just to observe what they're doing or talk about something you saw, just because you had a sense of familiarity with them. And this was really reinforced by the workshops we did Friday evening. On Friday evening, we did a series of workshops to help learn the game mechanics a little bit better and practice them, to get in the minds and the bodies of our Hobbit characters, to establish relationships with our family, as well as an even long-lost group of Hobbit friends. All of these activities were amazing icebreakers because we needed to honestly break that tension between us and the other players, as well as with ourselves. Hobbits are really silly folk, and so to really truly embody them and lean into them, you kind of have to let go of those inhibitions. So my family was the Bluffwaters, and man, they're the sweetest hobbits in the world. When it came time for us to determine our family traditions, we realized that most of us were avid tea drinkers. Tea! Yeah, good stuff. And so we agreed that after 11sies, we would take our tea together, which is amazingly pure. Speaking of 11sies, let's talk about the food. If the alternative title for this LARP is not Hobbit LARP, it would be Food and Ale Fest Marathon 2021, because oh my goodness, we ate all day. If you're not aware of the Hobbit eating lifestyle in the Lord of the Rings universe, Hobbits exist on around 7 meals a day.
Don't think he knows about second breakfast, Pip.
And this is similarly observed in the universe of Shiretown Shindig. So we start at 7 a.m. with first breakfast, and then 9 a.m. we have second breakfast, and then at 11 a.m. we have 11sies, and then 1 p.m. we have lunch, and then 3 p.m. we have tea, and 6 p.m. we have dinner, and then 9 p.m. we round it out with supper, so... Food. So much food. Oh my god. And one thing you can pretty much assume about the vast majority of people that went to the event is they love to cook and or bake. And I swear there is not an hour that I didn't ingest something food related. There were cookies, there were tarts, there were cheeses, there were bread and meats and pies and so much food, and I ate so much. I don't even think I ate supper. I'm a failed hobbit because I was just so full just from the general day, and everything was so good. So big shout out to everybody that bought food, because there wasn't a single thing that was not amazing. And when I say that this was such an amazingly talented group of people, I can't stress that enough. There were so many things that happened throughout the weekend that I just was so in awe of. I spoke to one individual who told me that she had spent the entire summer doing the embroidery on her aprons, and oh my god, when I say my jaw dropped, because the embroidery was absolutely gorgeous. And the Gertie Bucks, the performers of our Hobbit world, they had a little circus, and so on Friday night, they did an acrobatics routine. On Saturday, throughout the day, they were doing some dances with the musicians that came in. And then over the course of the day, they're also practicing and encouraging people to join their circus. But Saturday evening, they did this huge fire display. And I don't know if they're self-taught or how they're learning, if they just like to vibe like this. But it was absolutely incredible. I was amazed. And then there was a wonderful blue bottle who brought a harp, and she was just so lovely, and she let me play. It's important to note that I am obsessed with harps, and it is my life's journey to learn how to play that at one point, but I digress. But just, it was absolutely stunning. It was wonderful to watch all these people with their crafts, with their talents just come together and kind of really just vibe together in this space of calm that it seemed no one really outside of it could touch, which was it's a bubble. So Neve spent a lot of time with her fellow Bluffwaters, which involved a lot of long walks through the forest, and I also got to interact with a lot of people about bees and some secret adventure related things. But I brought honey sticks and I brought honey candies with me to kind of give out. I mean, she's a bee merchant, she's a honey merchant, so she brought them with her. And I think they're a really big hit, but I mean, how can you say no to the honey candy? Honey sticks are the best. So also at one point I wrote a petition. So, as you know, Neve was bee-themed, and a lot of people were very, very complimentary about her entire aesthetic and her costume. And when they would say so, I would say, well, I mean, Obviously, after last year, I couldn't bring the bees with me, so I had to bring them in some way. And that was widely accepted. And at one point, there was a writing desk where we could write notes to other players or write to a specific character, write her rumors to someone who could not attend the event. And I decided to write a petition to the establishment. And so I have it with me. I can read it to you. So the petition is as follows. Hello. To whom it may concern, I would like to petition against the restriction of bees at our fair gathering. Despite what people claimed at last year's gathering, they are as much as part of the Shire as any self-respecting hobbit. I would also like to dispute the claim that they stole the famous tallow prized apple pie. Further details can be provided. And I had spent some time, I wrote the names, I signed Neve's name at the bottom, and then I also signed the names of a bunch of her bees who wanted to make sure that they were included. And then I set it down to dry at the table, because it was with real ink. And I let it dry. And so I come back, like, maybe an hour later, and I come back to the table, and someone tells me, so it's like, oh, I read your petition and I signed it. I think it's a really worthy cause. And I'm like, what? And so there it is. Signature of a non-bee, non-me hobbit. And so what I proceeded to do for the rest of the event is take the petition around and get random signatures to support bringing the bees back with me next year. So I think I got around 19 signatures, which I'm pretty proud of. It's pretty filled up. It's pretty good. But we'll see what that looks like for next year. Bringing bees back with me. I have some ideas. We'll see. So then I got to take part in an adventure game. This game was run and conceived by one of our fellow hobbits from the Tello family. He had gotten a group of us together and we were playing this game as our hobbit characters, as characters in this game. So it was a little bit of role-playing inception, which was kind of fun. We got to choose our class in this game, and so Neve, of course, chose a merchant, which you should watch my previous video if you don't know what I'm talking about to understand what I am about character creation. But she chose of course chose to be a merchant. And so we got once we got past the initial hurdle of, oh my gosh, we're bringing dangerous ideas into the Shire, why are we playing this game is dangerous, oh my god. Once we got past that, we then had to choose what adventure we were going to do. So we decided to fight the beast. And so we were hired to track down this beast and kill it. And so after we got past that round of oh my god, why are we playing this game? How do we know that we're supposed to be slaying this beast? It's probably just living in a really, really hard ecosystem time, and he's going through a hard time right now. But then we're informed that he was, as well as killing sheep, he was also stealing hobbit children. We then understood that he had to die. So then there was a series of dice rolls, and I believe there was some beast wrestling, and the decapitation, as well as an intricate bubble evacuation. The game master slyly stated the moral of the game, which was, adventure isn't that scary if you're prepared. And of course the table erupted into another round of, oh my god, these are dangerous ideas. Meanwhile, Neve is just like, adventure. There was, of course, also a Tug of War, which is the preferred method of settling family disputes in the Shire. All the families pretty much did a round against each other, except the Bluffwaters. The Bluffwaters we kind of snuck in at the end, and we actually decided to go against ourselves, because we thought that was the way that we would have a chance of winning. There's something very sad about that, but we're not going to examine that. I didn't participate just because I had some medical things going in, but I did cheer them on. The funny thing is, as soon as that rope started to be pulled, everybody, and it like summoned everybody, they stood up, they all chose a side, and it just became this huge, like, entire Shire tug of war between everybody, and somehow the Bluffwater side did lose, which, you know, is par for the course. But my highlight was right afterwards. Unfortunately, one of my Bluffwater cousins lost one of her rings in the Tug of War, and so we immediately dropped to start trying to help her find it. And we were looking, we weren't really getting any headway, and started to feel bad, and then she was like, well, I mean, I guess maybe we should stop looking. And as soon as we let up a little bit, one of my fellow Bluffwaters, like, literally looked down, pointed, like, oh, there it is, and picked it up. And just right afterwards, all of us immediately started cheering. And this, oh my god, it was so pure of a moment of just all of us clapping. It was adorable, and you can see this picture. We all just immediately clapped, and it was just the most wholesome Hobbit-y thing ever. And at one point during the day, I just made bubbles. Huge bubbles. One of the hobbits who ended up becoming my auntie had brought this bubble solution in these huge wands, and man, it was just so magical and simple just to create these long tunnels and huge bubbles and just all watch as they floated away. It was amazing. Speaking of my auntie, I got some gifts. So about 2 weeks before the event, I started to see all of this, all these images of these adorable teacup holsters, and my brain immediately went in hyperdrive. It's like, oh my god, I need a teacup holster. But I'm like, I don't have time, I don't have money, there's no way to ensure that's gonna get here in time, and also finances, and oh my god. And I was lamenting, and the crux pretty much millennial first world problems. So when I finished getting dressed Saturday morning, I went outside before breakfast to kind of stand with people and just kind of engage. And there was just a blur of wonderful compliments that I did not know how to handle, and oh my god, people are just still so very, very sweet. But I ended up standing next to this fair meadow gentleman who turned to me and he was just like, bees, yes, wait, my partner has something for you. And I was like, what? And he gets his partner, she comes back, she's like, yes. And she was selling these teacup holsters, and she made one that was specifically bee themed. It's fine. I'm fine. Yes, I lost my mind and immediately said yes, 1,000 times yes. She was selling these for $50 at the event. She gave me a wonderful discount because she's an amazing human being. But just look and appreciate how perfect this is. It came with the teacup, it came with the dish, it came with this little spoon. It also came with biscuits and honey, and I'm just like, oh, let me just take this out. Just give me a second while I try not to break this, because I really will. I'm surprised I got through the whole event with it, but just... it's just so wonderful! I drank tea out of this all weekend. It was... psyched! Then, one of my favorite fair meadows to sit with brought out this basket of all of these beautiful little flowers that they had made. And we lost our minds. They were in so many different colors. We had to have them. We put them in our hair, put them in our corsets or our stays. We put them in our teacup holster. At one point, it was so cute. It matched everybody in some way, and oh my god, I loved it. Then I got this little guy. Look at him. Can you see how precious he is? His name is Willoughby. I got him from a Higgleby in exchange for some bees, and they had casted a bunch of these little figures. They had done rabbits, and they had also done wolves, or some people call them dragons. But just look at him. Look at how sweet. I don't know if that's looking. Look! Little Willoughby! So, my last gift, and this one has a story. So I was talking with one of my fellow Bluffwater beekeepers, and I had shared with him the secret that I was thinking about wanting to leave the Shire for some adventures. One other Higgleby had told me that there were bees 3 times the size, and of course I have to see them, we have to cuddle with them, it's the way of things. And so I was talking about leaving, and then, out of the blue, a wonderful Higgleby came and kind of just put this in front of me and was like, hey, do you want this? And Eve was just like, yeah? Okay. And, so then we're trying to figure out a name, and as we're talking about and continuing our conversation, I keep noticing that this little Draco Duck keeps turning to the same position as we're talking. And the position was into the forest, specifically a path that led, like, out of the Shire.
What is it you want most?
And I was just like, it's a sign. And so then we're trying to figure out a name for him, and the beekeeper I was talking to suggested from the Australian idiom to waltz Matilda, which means to pretty much wander aimlessly. And so now this is my Draco Duck, Matilda, who will, I guess, serve as Neve's compass in the future, because, I mean, we're pointing everywhere. We're telling us where to go. So long story short, Shiretown Shindig was absolutely amazing. It was its inaugural event, and I think it went so very, very well, and I'm excited to see how it's going to grow in the future. It was so hard to say goodbye to so many friendly faces and friends that I got to make over the weekend. Everybody was so welcoming, and it was such an easy atmosphere to like dip your toes in the water in the world of LARP. And I would wholeheartedly recommend this to first-time LARPers to attend, because it was amazing. Thank you for watching this video. It was such a wonderful experience putting together this first kind of series about my first LARP event. If you like this video, consider pressing the like button, and if you want to see more of my future adventures, consider subscribing. Alright, have a wonderful day. Bye. Hello. Okay, alright, now the demons have exited my body. Just clap. Bee glasses. They've already wrapped themselves around, it's fine. Very cute people at the event were just like, oh no, your glasses, they wrapped. I'm like, oh yeah, honey, it's okay. That's just what it's gonna be. I sometimes put myself in the mouth. It's really exciting to turn my head, just smack. Alright. I talk about some things. I don't know what I talk about, but I talk about something. Just find it. I don't know. Oh, tea. I could record a video, or I could just talk about the tea that I'm drinking. It's a spicy red chai. I do love myself some chai. I'm a spicy tea drinker. It is delicious, and how I like to live my life. So that's where we go. Just take one more sip for courage. Everything's fine. Everything is great. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Hee. Yes, I do just kind of stare at these out of the corner of my peripherals. Okay, I guess I'll stop recording, because it's about time. Okay, goodbye.